Okay, today we're going to be learning how to make a cutout background. This is very useful in magazines and on the internet. You see this a lot, especially with sports photography. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is just take us back to the beginning where what it would look like. So here's the picture that I want you to open. It's our golfer. Okay, and this is what this picture looks like when you first open it. The other things that we need to do is go up to our window and choose the photography workspace if you haven't already done that. If you're in the essentials, go ahead and switch that to photography workspace. And then we're going to come over here to the layers palette and we're going to make our background duplicated by taking it down into the duplicate layer icon, turning off the background, and then we're going to rename this as golfer. Okay. Then we're going to take our magnifying glass and we're going to zoom in on our golfer. Okay. Now we're going to come up here, and this is probably on the lasso tool. So go to the lasso tool, hold it down with your left mouse key, and choose the polygon or polygonal lasso. Your feather's probably set to 0, so go ahead and set this to a 3 pixel or PX, 3 pixel feather. Then I'm going to start right here at the top by the button on his cap. Right. So, and what I'm doing is just I clicked one time, and I'm going to make a straight line as far as I can make that straight line and click again. Right. Sometimes it's going to be a short straight line, sometimes longer. What I'm trying to do is make a rounded object out of short, straight lines. We go. Just little short straight lines. Okay, I kind of went into his ear there a little bit. So what I want to do is hit the backspace on my keyboard so that I can back up and do it again. Okay, now I did it again. Went too far. There we go. Now don't double click. Okay, double clicking tells the computer that you are done. So we're not going to double click. So you don't want to click too fast or it'll accidentally think you're double clicking. Okay. So this does take a lot of time. It's a very time consuming method of doing this. There are other methods that you can use, but one of the reasons is once we get into those trees, this is probably the best method for when you have a very complicated background like the trees and a subject like this golfer. Okay, you notice when I got to the edge, I just kind of pushed onto the edge and pushed it over or pushed it down so that I could make more room on the canvas. You just push. Okay, so this golf club's going to be nice. And all right, now this is one of those areas where I'm really talking about where we want to make sure that we get it right. I'm going to come here and click. 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 So the golf club, because it's moving, right, is a little blurry. So I'm going to try to get some of that blurriness away by just cutting it off. Okay. Alright, so just straight lines. Alright, lots of straight lines. Make a little tiny little one right there. As best as possible, you don't want it to touch the golfer or his golf club or anything like that. I'm going to push it on over. Give myself some space. Right. Okay, so this is a very time consuming project. It's probably one of the longest, hardest things you're going to do. I'm going to get rid of that little tree right there. Same thing here. Got these little trees everywhere. Okay, so clothing can be very difficult around the edges. Even more so is hair. Right, we're lucky that this particular subject doesn't have hair. It's under his hat, so we're not going to have to worry about it. Oops, there we go. So we're going to use a little backspace right there. Okay. But the wrinkles in somebody's clothing where their body bends can be very difficult, right? Because you got to go into the little curves, and it can be very time consuming to do all that, to do it right. You want to make a really good looking cutout. Okay. And when you're making these short little cuts, you want to just be very careful that you don't accidentally double click. Okay. Because if you do, you'll wish you hadn't. Okay. So we can clean up this grass. He hit the grass with his golf club, and there's still grass in the air when this picture was taken. So we can clean this grass up if we want to. It's not technically part of this tutorial, but if we have time, I can show you how to do that. So this is one of the most difficult parts right here because the grass kind of makes it more difficult to find the edge of his shoe. So we just keep going along until we find all the edges. So you can see that this is very time consuming. Hopefully we'll finish in time that we can do some extra things. So we have 15 minutes on these videos maximum. So I'm going to back that up. Always backspace key on your keyboard to back it up like that. So, all right, we're past the halfway mark, and we're hitting 9 minutes into the video. I'm hoping that I'll finish in time. So let's try to speed this up a little bit. We have enough time to show you the final steps without having to make a second video. So obviously yours may take a lot more time than the 10 or 15 minutes that I'm taking. Yours might take easily 20 or 30, maybe even the whole period. To get it done and done properly. But that's okay. If it's your first time, it's to be expected. We're almost done. Okay, so here's a little bit of what I was talking about. See how that folds. Just a little back spacing there. Folds in his clothing, wherever your body bends, tends to bunch up your clothing, right? So you gotta really go around all those little tiny curves in the clothes. Here's another one. And it can make it a little tedious to do. But that is kind of our job. Alright, we're hitting the 11-minute mark and we're almost there. It's great. Okay. Another little section right here. It's going to cause a little difficulty. So this is where you can get a little too in a hurry, right? It's a lot of little clicks and you're wanting to be done. And if you go too fast, you'll accidentally double click and you don't want to do that. Then the computer thinks you're done. And we're not done. Now we're done. Alright, so I double click to finish, and now you notice I have this little line of black and white dots, and they call this the marching ants. And it's going all the way around my subject. So I'm going to use the magnifying glass. I'm going to hit the Alt key on the keyboard, and I'm going to zoom out. So now you can see that it does in fact go all the way around my golfer. Now the problem right now is if I go to edit and cut, I lose my golfer, and that's not what I want to do. So I'm going to undo that. What I want to do is go to my select menu and I want to inverse, right, the selection, which means instead of it being inside of the marching ants, I want it to be outside of the marching ants. So now it selects everything that's not the golfer. And now I can go ahead and go to edit, cut. And now I have just my golfer. Right? Except right here, we have a little bit of sky right here in this. So we got to do the same thing that we did before. Right? Start a new cutout inside of his arms. This time we won't inverse though, because we want it to be everything inside of the cutout and not outside of the cutout. Alright, we're almost done. There we go. You notice how it kind of softens when you double click. It softens those curves a little bit. That's that 3-pixel feather. It softens it out a little bit. And now we can go ahead and go to edit, cut. And now, I'm going to zoom back out. And now I have a nice cutout of my golfer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to File, Save As. I want to save this as a PNG because a PNG has a transparent layer. So I'm going to go to File, make it a PNG, your name, golfer, cutout, save. We're done.